Dewakar Goel here. I'm a poet, a narrator, philosopher, thinker, advocate, professor, bureaucrat, and so many hats I'm wearing. I need not give my introduction as an author who has written 25 books, which are in Hindi, English, Urdu, Bangla, Malayalam, Tamil, and on different topics. Here, my capacity is as a reader, and I feel grateful and that Dr Soni Shalini, you see, Soni Shalini is a writer. I got this novel, she gifted this novel long before to me, but you see, it is around 262 pages book. I was not finding time to read this book, and unless and until you read the entire book, you can't do justice. When as a reader you want to review it, you want to give your comments. You see, the Stalwarts, the title says, you will not find any book in the market which says about the saviors during the pandemic, Corona-19 for 2 years. People gave their life who were suffering with the disease, but the people gave their life who were saviors, the doctors, the nurses, paramedical staff and all. This novel is not a novel, it is a real story of those 2 years in Bombay, especially in the context of Bombay. Dr. Soni has written a first-hand knowledge, and what she has written, her dedication is beautiful. I dedicate my book to time. See what she has written, you must read it, the first page itself. I wish it did not happen for those who struggled in life in those dark times, taking the COVID-19 pandemic ahead on. My dedication breathes upon every soul and dead or alive. Really, I tell you, she is writing the guiding lights of this book. In a gentle way, she is the Mahatma Gandhi's word. She starts with the Rabindranath Tagore, with the Osho. To accept the challenge of the unknown is courage. Fear is there. If you go on accepting challenge again and again, slowly down the fears disappear. Now she has acknowledged it for the people who were concerned about it. And she says that she is grateful to the family also, who were the pillar who stand to her. Then in the introduction, she has written about the 2020, about the reality of the time. I think it is not a book, it is a total research work. The research work consisting of about 42 chapters. One thing I would like to criticize also the author of this book. She has never tried to devote time in naming the chapters. So as a reader, I get confused. You see what this particular chapter speaks about. My request to this author will be in the next edition, please try to go through your in chapter and give them the name. Give the name to the chapters. You see, it is very important to have the chapters. Because unless your chapters are having the name, there is no fun. You lose the context. Now I will try to come to the how to classify chapter 1 and then chapter 2, what it speaks about. It is like a story sort of thing of the corona crisis. What kind of patients were there? What was the mental state of patients? What was the mental state of saviors? What were the mental state of nurses, the doctors who devoted day and night in saving the patients? See the last of this chapter, I was surrounded by a buying silence. Before entering the ward, I moved to the room and get the protective armor. The doctors were so much careful about they may not get infected by COVID-19. I started with the procedure of sanitizing and donning the PPE with the help of the nursing staff to dress for the COVID-19 ward in an extremely long and calculated process. I moved like a warrior to fight my battle, murmuring, the world needs a huge positive energy to fight against the negative forces. Begin and generate the positive energy, the work of humanity. Then in another chapter 4, what she is writing, bed number 10 has been critical since last night. Please check, doctor, said the donors on the dead. I moved towards the critical patient, praying to God, no more death, please. I started checking bed number 10, patient, only to find that he had already passed away. My God, anxiously, I named to Dr. Aman. Dr. Aman, bed number 10, patient has passed away. Being under our cure, it is a duty to keep monitoring critical patients. These kind of tragic scenes have been narrated by Dr. Soni Shalini. Now, she has written the words from Tolstoy. Happiness is an allegory. Happiness is a story. All happiness depends on courage and work. Now, again, I would like to read from this book. Disastrously, Gabriela turned to COVID-19 positive, and we made arrangements at Gabriela in the same ward where she has been working, taking care of patients. You see, she has written the apathy. She has written the conditions of a doctor or the people who are saviors, and they become the patient. The savior becomes the patient. I was led by my team to examine her reports. Her eyes were closed. Her face is dead. Is it dead, chattily white, and her body lay helpless. She cried her eyes out, but there was no tears. Her eyeballs felt as if they were artificial, dry, roasted, slightly hardened. She gave a slow rumble in the raw and stretched tone. I feel terrible. I'm strong, but I'm tired, doctor. Tired of always having to be strong. I wanted to explain how exhausted I am. Even in my dreams, I am being drowned in a black wave. This is the condition. I think only as a writer, how much pains Dr. Soni Shalini has taken to write this book. The narrations are so realistic, so pathetic, so sensitive, makes the reader emotional, makes the reader to go along with her in various wards of Bombay, in different hospitals and all. You see, with her story, the rain too stopped. Looking at the constantly pouring water accumulated on the bonnet of the car, my childhood burst forth, triggering weird nostalgia. As a child, I chased 100 passions. As a child, I loved rain, and I still do. I danced and played in the rain rather than sitting watching it silently. Rain was better toys. Anushka handed me with the visiting card, gracefully thanking me for the interview. Now this is about a doctor is telling about, giving interview about first-hand narration. Now see, she says when she is telling one of the character in the novel, you see, telling about this, it is an emergency, I have to go. She could not hide her concern, which was writ large on her face. Her expression eyes were full of concern and asked, no rest, are not we going home? Back to work again, looking into the aura of this woman, passionate, dedicated, I reciprocated, I have married my profession. It's my wife, my better half. So where is the point of rest? Now this was the condition. I waved as it walked to the parting road, humming a favorite quote of Hippocrates, where the art of medicine is loved, there is also a love of humanity. Again coming to, I feel like reading from each chapter, the words, the narrations, what she has made. While reading the novel, it was a long flight. I went abroad and I could find time to read this novel because it was a really Herculean task for me to, but it was necessary to read the book in one go. Otherwise you lose the context because chapters have not been named. So I can't, if I am reading in pieces, if you read this book in pieces, you will lost in, you see the track. So because the chapters have not been named and some work needs to be done on that. Again, I am repeating on that. The worst of all this was I could never communicate my feelings and thoughts with my friends. I would keep everything within me, unable to figure out as to why I seemed detached, unwilling to hang out with them. I smiled a serious reply in my eyes. You are a brave girl. Ultimately, it's not challenges in life, sheer fortune. How you respond is the real material. Now, from the side of a patient, she is speaking. She must have interviewed large number, hundreds of people. Who were the patients, who are warriors also. Now, you see, when the hi friends, I propose more high qualified service and care closer to home. I want to share with you the gems of the life. See, over a period of time, I have forgotten my own reflections about what a doctor should be. My inner calling flowed in the company of the beautiful and compassionate soul. Reflect the ponder upon a few important points, but decision can be made together. I believe creating WhatsApp groups of the patients. We should produce more and more safety measures, videos, and public awareness. Number 3, and the need to take a strict measure admitting patients to the hospital. Only serious patient will be admitted in the hospital. Now, these are the interaction between the nurses and senior people there. They say when these things were there, but we are bound to admit patients who come to the hospital. I am going to the next point that our doctors will call upon the patients at their residence if they need hospitalization. We will do the needful. We will control everything. Last but not least, during the pandemic, our patients are away from their relatives. We will have to become close to our patients, listening to them, taking care of their emotions. I would not just be the duty of the nurses, but it is all of us who are in contact with them, as the number of cases continues to rise in Mumbai. Now these are the scenes. Took a sip of the bottle. Malab, I cannot understand how much pains this writer, Dr. Soni Shalini, has taken to come out with such a beautiful novel, a lengthy novel. Really, and I can understand she can't leave anything because she is narrated, she has lived this life with them. And these 2 years she has to summarize every moment which was important. And now coming to this chapter 28, where she says in the first page, we'll see the safety of vaccine. Now it came about the vaccination part, which is the primary importance. The dose range will also be calculated. When will the vaccine be declared effective? The primary objective of the COVID vaccine is to keep people from getting very sick and dying. You may get COVID, but you won't become critical. Now, this was the uncertainty in the mind of the people about the vaccine. Now, you see, I can understand that when the first vaccine came, second vaccine came, how much uncertainty was there. Now, once again, the Mumbai looks like Mumbai. Traffic is back to usual. Now, she is coming to that when the corona crisis really slowed down and how it made the life coming to the normals. And still, it's not very normal, but according to her. Now, she comes to the December, maybe 2020 saved the best for the last. I'm not sure whether the hopeful for and nervous about it. This year had certainly been normal. Now it was about 21. The only place where the crazier Marine Drive in the hospital ICU, weird sounds. Oh, she is coming out to every nook and corner of that. Then she is coming in chapter 34 about the January 2021. I shook my hand, sinking into the deep musing, being the second largest population of the world's largest pharmaceutical manufacturing capabilities. I believe India has central role in COVID-19 vaccination effort. Now she's susceptible, ran deep in India. I see anti-vaccine campaign. Then again she goes for about the central character of this novel, Anushka. And you will find a continuity in this novel which she tried to maintain. Then again I feel, that I have questions, many questions from the author, Dr. Soni Shalini, that why she has not named the chapters, because she has written from the heart. She knows what this contains about. She could have a narration, one line catchy, what she speaks about that. See, now coming to the most beautiful part of this novel is not novel, it is really something which is a real depiction, real narration of the scenario of COVID, saviors, patients, the climatic condition of Bombay, the hospitals in Bombay, there was no traffic on the roads, but it was a pure silence. I stood there, the blue flank, murmuring for myself, if you are dying COVID-19, it does not matter what your age is. Does not matter if you are rich or poor. It doesn't matter whether you are healthy or not so healthy. It doesn't matter if you are comfortably or not. Nothing mattered in this second wave. We doctors and nurses are trying our best to save lives, but things were slipping out of our hands with all my experience, I was struggling. I did not want this young boy to die. This is what a doctor is telling about a 20-year-old boy who was lying unconscious on the ventilator. Really, I can't feel that how she could write this there. Disheartened, disheartened, disheartened. I took off my PP. This is what the doctor is telling. Throwing it on the floor, running to the just in my gown, murmuring constantly, I can't do it. I won't do it. Everybody is dying. Medicines are not working. The second wave is horrifying. The new variant Delta is devastating. Pandemic is out of our control, even beyond the doctor's reach. I broke down as I called the family, and words felt if there was being uttered and person trapped. I was sobbing in anguish. The call was again of the mother. Hello doctor, I was expecting your call. How is my son doing? Hoping that all will come fast, we are missing him. Now this is the condition. Shouting that lady, hello, hello. Madam, sorry, I could not save him. This is the reply of the doctor. Phone hung with a shocked wave. Now, you see, last I would like to say, she has very rightly summarized it with the wordings of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, the title She Worshipped. I seem to have loved you numberless in forms and numberless times. In life after life, age after life forever, my spellbound heart has remade a necklace song. The memories of all love merging with this loved one's outbursting, the song of every poet and forever. I compliment Dr. Shalini, who is a life coach, who is wearing many hats. She is this book is international recognition from New York City Big Book Award she got in 2019. And many other awards this book has got. And I compliment for her writing and what she has titled the novel Stalwarts, very catchy. Compliments to Dr. Soni Shalini, and I wish every reader to kindly go through the novel in one go. Thank you.